I happen to disagree. I did the March Against Monsanto last year. I've also been with Moms Across America. And I've learned many, many things over the past 3 years, the damage that this is doing to our water. And not only that, but it's not only in our water, it's actually getting into our systems. Just a little side note, they have found glyphosate in breast milk. So this is an issue. This is the stuff that they spray on the fields. It's going in, it's going into our groundwater. It needs to be addressed. I'm hoping that everybody that came together today, I'm like Bobby, let's bring it on. Let's see what we can do together, all these coalitions, and see what we can make happen. I have big, big hopes for what's going on today. So.
Just one more thing. Did I give you enough time to speak? I don't. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were done because it kind of bounced back. So I just wanted to. All right. Go ahead.
So I'm not.
Jeff Schultz, Stevens Point. Jeff Schultz. I got problems with high caps and cables. I'm here. I've been fighting this for a while. I'm here to learn how to be more productive with my fight. That's what I'm here for.
Hi,
I'm
I'm Vincent Gould from Stevens Point, concerned father. Just yesterday, my little girl, she's 6 years old in kindergarten. They went to the Boston School for us, and they have a nitrate warning on their waterfall, but they're still allowing children to drink from it. So I think we need a lot of more education and awareness, and I also would like to see more legislation come out to help raise awareness in regards to these issues. High capacity wells and spraying of pesticides is unsustainable for any environment. It's just going to cause a huge public health crisis soon. So that's why I thank you for your time.
Side note, if you have a photo of that, can you send that to me? There's laws related to certain public areas and nitrate notification. So if you, I don't know if you by chance have something.
Yeah, my wife took a photo and posted on her Facebook page, so I can tag you in that later today.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Dylan Bartelt from Town Hall. Kind of new to all this. Know it's a good cause. Against high capacity wells. Just a concerned citizen, here to learn. Be a part of the group.
Dave Peterson, Town of Hull Board. We are currently working on the water quality monitoring plan that was mentioned earlier. In addition to that, we are working with the city trying to resolve an issue over a high capacity well that took out the wells of about 38 homeowners, and trying to come to some agreement as to what will happen in the future if they increase the pumping, if Plover gets their water from Stevens Point. That's my
I'm Rick Stouts. I'm also on the Town of Hull Board. I live right adjacent to the city. My property is in the wellhead protection zone for a while for the city. So there are rules on what I can do on my property that don't affect the city water, but they can do whatever they want when it comes to my water. I was just retired a few years ago. I was a director of public works and municipal engineer, so I ran a water utility. So I'm very familiar with the wellhead protections that municipal wells have. And it'd be nice if we could have something like that for private wells. We've got 5,000 people in the town of Hull. All of them get their water from private wells, no municipal wells. So there's roughly 2,000 wells out there. One big well is, Dave said here, can affect 20, 30 wells in the adjacent area.
My name is Alec Brosh, and I'm from Stevens Point. I moved to Wisconsin in 1989 from Massachusetts. And the two things that you heard about Wisconsin, if you were going to move here from another part of the country, was its outstanding education system and the environment with forests, lakes, all kinds of water activities. And we certainly learned to enjoy all of those things when we came here. We lived in Plover until a couple of years ago, and we have a different kind of well story in that we lived on the river, Wisconsin River, quite a ways from Little Plover Park. And we had a well. There was one street in Plover that was not connected to village water because they were waiting to change the road or whatever. Anyway, we tested our water and it was better than the village water, so we never connected. So it's a little different story because we weren't near anything like some of the more unfortunate people here are. The interesting thing to us was we had the connection already in there because we were near an area where Koch brothers had an oil spill in the river. And somebody we heard speak today talked about a company with their PR team. Well, their PR team had them install all the pipes and everything for water connection all the way up and down our street for free. So we could have easily connected. The other interesting part of that is that when we were selling our house and the realtor found out we could connect to water, they said, by all means, connect to the water because your house will be more saleable than if you have your own well, because people don't like that. So we didn't have to spend much money connecting, and we did it before we put our house on the market, knowing that the water they would be getting was worse than the water from the well that was at the house. I didn't come with any personal issue today. I just came because I've been reading so much about what's going on that my husband and I heard about the bus coming down, and maybe it was time to step up and get involved. And I've certainly learned, like so many things in life, gotten more than I have given out of this day by listening to people's stories. And so I am really pleased to be part of this effort. The only other thing I want to say is that Al LaBelle is my brother.
Oh.
So I thought you thought it
You
might
guys look
be.
alike. Oh.
Yeah.
Barb Gifford. I live in the village of Plover. Been involved with the little Plover River for a while. We lived on that dammed up dam that was 100 years old. And, so we've been there for about 45 years. There weren't any other homes around. Our well, that's the only water there was. There wasn't even sewer then in those days. But it was pure. And the village has 2 wells, 1 and 2, and then they have number 3. 1 and 2 sit right in the watershed, close to the river. And over the years, 3 has gotten progressively worse. And so they've had to use the clean water from those 2 wells that is a detriment to the river and mix that. So it cuts down on the cost. Now they're faced with a problem we probably will no longer be able to use our well. It's all of a sudden showing huge nitrate jumps. So we'll see which is the worst water that we can get. I'll test them. So it's a similar situation. The other thing is, as I'm sure you recall, I have this thing about automatic flow meters. And there aren't many things we can point to these days as a success, and maybe we need a small success here. And if we can get, there was some agreement that maybe that might be done or talked about.
Can you, did you say flow meters?
Automatic flow meters
Okay,
on high
that's what
capacity
I
wells.
just wanted to make sure I heard you
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
And you know
yeah.
the reasoning, yes.
We can talk about that as soon as we're done. Yes.
When do you have to go?
A few minutes, so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Jim,
Oh,
Ken,
we got
and then-
Jim and Lou.
Yep, great.
Right.
Okay,
Hey.
I'll say something.
Oh,
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
yeah, oh, go ahead, we'll go this way, that's fine.
I just want to say that I don't have much more to add to what's already been said by everyone here. I share the same concerns. I guess what I would say is that I'm also concerned not only about us, but about our kids and grandchildren. Because what we do or don't do now, soon, about the water is going to affect our descendants, our direct descendants very quickly. That's it.
Jim?
Simple bit of legislation. I've been tracking the wells applied for and approved, since I think 2007. And the one thing is people don't know when new wells are being asked for. And I think the DNR should be required, once they get an application for a well, to inform the community, township, city, or village, that the well is being asked for, and the county, I think probably planning and zoning makes the best place to send it. But these things go in, and unless you, I've been doing it so long, now they've changed the system, but unless you know exactly where to go and when to go and do it regularly, you'll never know until all of a sudden the center pole appears across the street.
Okay. Ken?
Well, I'd just like to make an observation. The last time we met with you on a conservation issue in your building was Conservation Lobby Day. Remember Jim, Barb, myself, George Guyan, and Heidi was here. That's 5 people. There are 26 people in this room. I think that puts into perspective the significance of this issue. And I'm hoping that we will become politically involved. This is politically involved right now. But we don't leave here today and forget why we came. And so I encourage everybody to stay motivated and work hard at this issue. And I couldn't be prouder of the people that have shown up today.
One thing, there were 5 or 6 bus loads that came down, with 50-some people on each bus from areas of Wisconsin. There's a lot of us here, thank God we already burned all our cars.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, I'll just chat a little bit about some of my goals and priorities and what I've been working on before I have to go. I apologize. It's probably the busiest day of the entire session, and I'm not exaggerating. This is the first time I've ever had to have Annika print off my schedule, and I check it off one by one because there's so much going on. Usually I just use my phone, but it's overlapping. So please know this is just the beginning of a conversation, and that should we require more time, I'm always happy to meet in the district especially. I know it's a big deal for you to come down here and take time out of your busy lives and spend the day talking to people who hopefully are listening. I hope your experience so far has been good. You know, Annika got the time today to address you about how best to advocate, so I won't spend time on that, but what I'll say is...
Actually, I'm not sure, were you even meeting with Senator Tustin when I was doing that?
Oh, maybe
I think they were there, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll have to do that another time then, because, or maybe you could kind of do the spiel as soon as I leave so that they can hear about, okay. Oh, okay, so I'll be so here's the deal. I think it's important, first of all, to know that your voice really does matter. I hear from people every day who will ask, you know, should I even bother calling or emailing? Like, oh, it's you know, name the party, like, I don't know if they're gonna listen, it's the majority, and, you know, they've never listened to me before, but I personally witnessed a lot of bad policy that would harm many, many people and groups being either delayed, stonewalled, amended, potentially dead on arrival. It depends on the issue, but we have seen successes in this building. Not all the time, let me be clear, but enough to the point where I think it's important to organize, and I think what you're doing today is noble, needed, and just don't be afraid to be persistent. That's the first thing. Secondly, I think the 2 biggest issues that people brought up today, which are in line with everything I've been working on, are quality and quantity issues. Portage County, Wood County, Adams County, all the counties in the Central Sands especially, are painfully familiar with not only quantity issues, but also the quality issues, and especially in the Central Sands, our issue is more nitrates than it is like coliform bacteria in Kewaunee County, for example, and I'm aware that there are a lot of Kewaunee County people here today too, which is great. One of the things that I've noticed in the legislature is there is a tendency to advocate for just your region and not reach out and find out about what's going on in other regions. But I've been paying really close attention to what's happening in our state with water. If you look at Bayfield County and the issues that they're dealing with, and the county ordinance that they passed and their court battle with that versus Kewaunee County and the ordinance that they passed and how they actually had to bring in the EPA versus Portage County, Adams County, Wood County. There's a lot of things going on there. And then you go down to like Southwest Wisconsin where they also have quality issues and quantity issues. Like Greene County is a great example. Then you go to Western Wisconsin with frac sand mining, and they're having both of those issues as well. So I think it's important to recognize that you're stronger when you are intersectional, when you find all the issues that are plaguing the state and work together on a solution. One of the biggest issues that I have, not only as a member of the minority, is that I don't feel that legislation that's introduced that, science-based, evidence-based, gets a fair shake in the Capitol. The bill that you referenced will likely not get a public hearing this year at all. And so what I've been trying to spend some of my time on this session, which I haven't done as much in the past, is talking with people who I'm hoping can try to be persuaded at least even slightly to try to preserve some of the water issues that I think most deserve a voice, knowing that when we put out legislation, it's unlikely to pass, and that's an unfortunate reality. So I've been working a little bit on that, and I'm working on proactive stuff regarding quality and quantity. This summer I met with a bunch of, and I encourage you to reach out to the Center for Watershed Science people on campus at UWSP, they're fantastic. I met with them to actually learn about nitrates, for example, and learn about the law related to it as well as how they go around monitoring. One of the things I have been looking into is compensation for wells that have been polluted. You only have access to that from the state if you own livestock. That to me doesn't make sense. So that's like a simple idea that I think deserves some kind of conversation that I'm hoping to have with people from other parts of the state. Another idea, several people mentioned monitoring, that's a no-brainer. Portage County, I've learned, has an incredible amount of data compared to other places, probably because we have so many scientists working on these issues, but in other areas of the state, we don't have the data. Notification, a lot of people do not know that they should test their private well. I personally met people who went 20 years in high concentrated agriculture areas without testing their well and found out the parts per million of nitrate was 5 times above the federal limit. That's a simple one too. So quality, that's one kind of thing. On quantity, as you all probably are painfully aware, there's a lot of case law regarding like Beulah and a couple of Michael's Pipeline, a couple other decisions after that. Annika and I have had a lot of meetings on these issues. We're actually working with attorneys right now to figure out what can and can't be done. There's a lot of legal, hazy, murky kind of stuff going on right now, and we're just trying to be as strategic as possible, while I have been reaching out to groups that probably in the past few years haven't talked to me because they've been on the far other side of the issue, and I've said, listen, if you guys want any Democrat to ever even discuss these issues with you, you need to actually come to our offices. So I've been saying, here's where I'm at, here's what you need to do, here are my high water marks, because I don't feel like we've been a part of the process, and it's been extremely unfortunate. And the bill that came out last session is probably going to come out again, and if they provide permanent water rights to some people at the expense of others, we're going to be in huge trouble. And the DNR is the biggest culprit here. Before I have to go, just real quick, the DNR is a far departure from what it used to be, and I really think the only way we're going to be able to restore science to the DNR is if the DNR secretary is appointed by the Natural Resources Board, not the governor. I've co-sponsored that bill every session. I will fight to make sure the DNR is science-based, but I mean, the legislature and governor cut DNR scientists. I'm working on a bill to add DNR scientists for water issues specifically. We're looking at legislation giving people the right to water. It's a little bit murky because we already have the public trust doctrine. So we're looking at various ways to message on these issues that make fundamentally clear that every citizen has a right to clean, safe, and enough water, period. And I think that is an important part of the conversation. And you're gonna see a lot of different science being thrown around, and I think the most important part is we need unbiased actors who can validate. Ken Bradbury, I think, is one of them. I think he was quoted in the paper that you guys mentioned yesterday. There's a lot of advocates who've been doing this for a long time. The retired DNR secretaries, do not be afraid to lean on them too. They have incredible knowledge. What I'll say is, you know, if I were to diagnose the biggest problem in this building, other than the vast amount of money that's come in to flood campaigns, and made a lot of legislators beholden to donors that act in their favor as a result, the partisan, non-science-based, non-evidence-based decision-making in the DNR is a tragedy. And I do not see that being repaired until we remove partisanship from the DNR. I'm really worried about the DNR budget. That could potentially make things even worse. So please speak out when that budget gets introduced in 40 minutes. We'll see what it looks like. Unfortunately, I have to go, but those are just my quick thoughts on the issue, and I appreciate all your time, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you.